Hello there! Welcome to Startup Kitchen Talk, where we discuss startup apprentices becoming master chefs. Today's guest is a lawyer, a partner at sparring, cyclist, and there's something, what is this in this super small writing? Yes, someone who is later today offering to help their podcast host with some lawyer stuff.
Amazing.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's 100% correct, Kate.
Ondřej Zemek, welcome.
Hi there. How are you?
Well, I'm very well, thank you. It's sunny outside and I'm getting the sun. So
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Well, what about you? You're getting a lot of vitamins, right?
Yeah, I need to supplement vitamin D heavily these days because of the crutches that I bring here with me. Because
what happened?
I'm an excellent cyclist. I bought a new bike. I rode it once, then I rode it for the second time.
You're an excellent cyclist.
Yeah, and then I crashed. I went immediately to the hospital to get an operation, and yeah, that happened 2 months ago.
How long did you have you spent in the hospital?
Just 3 days, 4 days, because they kick you out quite quickly because they need.
Because it's
they just
expensive.
They just kick you out because they need your room for someone else. And then I spent some time at home. Then I had to go to physical rehab, and yeah.
So you're a better lawyer than your cyclist?
I would generally say that I'm terrible at sports. The level of my legal skills that's for my colleagues and clients to appreciate.
How fast were you going?
I was going really slow, actually. That's the funniest part. Like
sorry
6 kilometers per hour, something like that. Yeah, let's not get into that. Like that hurts mentally and physically.
Yeah. It hurts me as well. I feel your pain so much. But like, if you were going slow, let's talk about some fast stuff.
Of course.
If you want to read some news from the tech world, you go to TechCrunch or the Czech version, CzechCrunch.
Yeah.
Where do you go to when you want to read some lawyer stuff, lawyer news? Do you go to some lawyer daily?
Well, as the law evolves, obviously you need to keep track. There's like very not very wide range of what I, as a startup lawyer, need to know from the new legislation. If there's new legislation for labeling of food, I don't really care that much. On the other hand, one of our clients is a coffee roastery and chain of coffee shops, and for them, we then need to find out. There are
so basically, you need to know all.
You need to know bits of everything, and then you need
same as podcast host.
And then you need to know really well your stuff that you're going to do. And to answer your question, yeah, there are a few websites run by mostly companies that publish basically legal literature. So I keep track of those, and then obviously LinkedIn, and then some business.
Some amazing TikTok material. What is the latest news from the law and order world? What surprised you?
Well, there was this one news that came to my mind, and that was that a French, I think it was a perfume producer, got fined of 15.9 million euros during a European Commission analysis or check of whether they are not connected with their competitors, and the fine was imposed because one of the top managers in the company deleted a WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp message was sent to their competitor, and they were probably intrigued, or they're probably into some shady stuff, and that's why the European Commission imposed such a fine. That's crazy, right?
That's crazy. So, what did you take from that?
You have to cooperate during the antitrust raids. You basically cannot do any stuff like that.
And deleting WhatsApp message doesn't help?
No, it does not.
Let's talk about your name for a bit. I did a kickboxing.
My name?
No, not your name.
Ondřej.
Well, I would ask your parents for that.
Okay.
But thank you for specifying that. But let's talk about sparring name.
Yeah.
I did kickbox once, it was a long time ago, and I was probably as good as you are cyclist. I was kickboxer. But I remember what sparring stood for, and that was that it means to make motions like you're fighting, but pulling your punches, not doing some heavy catastrophic ones. But don't you need heavy punches in the lawyer world?
It really depends. When we work with our clients, we need to be their partner. We need to stand by them, and we need to support them.
Like secondant in fighting.
Yeah, something like that. And like we cannot break their necks when they are, for instance, preparing for investment or for due diligence. When there is a legal action brought against our client, of course, then we have to be strict, and then we have to step up the game, right? But the name of sparring is just because we felt the urge to cooperate with our clients in slightly
so
more...
the sparring is between the company and the clients.
Exactly.
Oh, lovely.
We felt the need to assist our clients in a slightly more friendly manner.
Yeah, it would be bad if you heavy punch your clients, right?
Well, on the other hand, we all came from like big law companies, and sometimes we did not feel that the way how your business is being run 100% aligns with the business of your client, and that you're probably not helping them with all of your advice. That is perhaps too complicated. That the language that you speak is not comprehensive to your client. Mostly with young founders, with first-time founders, with someone who's not used to working with law firms. Sometimes the advice comes too slow. Sometimes or it comes too late. Sometimes the advice is too complicated, too complex, too expensive, etc. So
you focus on VCs and founders. You specify the young founders. So what are the differences, except for sneakers, hoodies, and language that you speak?
You mean in the language? Yeah, we try to be as concise as possible. We basically try and There's a difference between working for a startup and for a bank, for instance. I worked for both, and we work for both. We work for banks as well, for their like VC venture, for their like venture organizations that they have. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge difference because You mean corporate ventures? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The startup founder, they need to move fast. They need to decide quickly, and they do not need 30 pages worth of long memorandum whether they can sign a contract.
Is there a time where you need 30 pages long
contract? If you are a bank board member, then you probably will request those just to cover your ass.
Yeah, but is there really a fundamental difference? Like, is it just written way more complicated that the sentence that could be, 5 words turn out to be 25 words? Or is there like a practical difference between those 2 and 30 pages contracts?
The question is usually that our clients shoot questions at us in a really fast pace. Board members don't do that. They have their own teams that analyze whether they should do something. Okay. And they really come with ready-made solutions. And you just put a stamp of a law firm saying, or a reputable law firm saying that, yeah, this is probably okay. There will be 6 pages worth of disclaimers saying that if it's not okay, it's not your fault, obviously. But with startup founders, it's a bit different. They just shoot questions at you via like WhatsApp messages or phone call, and you just can't say them, yeah, this will take us 15 hours to crunch. You can if it's really complex, and then they will probably tell you, yeah, we don't need that. We'll go a different way, or we will try calling a different lawyer who will give us an answer within a 5-minute phone call.
And is there like the myths told us that there could be in those 30 pages long contracts, there could be this small writing or hidden messaging or hidden conditions. Mm-hmm. Is that true, or is it just way more complex?
Well, that's true. Perhaps with those like the crooks, those shmady that were quite discussed in the media like 5 to 10 years ago. That like my grandpa bought some really shitty pants for 80,000 crowns, and they even forced her into taking a loan for that, even though she had the money there at the party that they had for all of the elderly people. Yeah,
your grandpa was there.
My grandma.
grandma. Didn't you
unfortunately.
want to because they were?
I was so angry.
Excuse my language.
I was so angry when I found out.
They were such a piece of human garbage. Those people.
I was really angry. I talked to my mom like there are a couple of ways how to get out of this, but our grandma told us like 6 months after that all happened, so she couldn't withdraw from the contract. Coming back to your question, if you have a business negotiations, if both parties have some experience, if both parties have a lawyer involved, no, those should not happen.
Was that the reason why you went to study law? Or was it already happening during that?
Sorry, how do you mean that?
Because it was a horrible thing that happened to your grandma.
No, that was already past that.
It was already past that.
Yeah.
So have you ever thought of suing them or burning their houses or something?
Well, no, not really. I have a couple of cases where I think I brought the crooks to justice, or someone who did not really abide the law as they should. We brought them to justice. That made me really.
What's that feeling?
That made me really happy. Like if someone is doing something that's just not correct, it feels really good to bring them to. And it's not like you're really happy about them being hurt. You're happy about your client or yourself or your friend getting the justice and getting, for instance, the money back. But
as a lawyer, you can be sometimes on the other way.
Yeah, I don't really feel good about that.
Yeah.
I always try to support my client and support their rights, but it's really difficult in case they're just not in the right and they have done something wrong, or the case is crystal clear and we just can't win, right? That's a bit complicated.
That's a bit complicated. Speaking of other sides, you work trans-sectors and transatlantic. What are some of the itches that startups think that only U.S. money can scratch? Well,
for at first, it's the amount of funding that you can get in the U.S., especially throughout all of the startup investment rounds. You can get that. There's a pretty low probability that you will raise a pre-seed of $3 to $5 million here in Czech Republic. That's highly unlikely, I would say, unless it's a really special industry like energy or like really cash-heavy fintech or something like that. It's almost impossible to raise money like that in Prague. You can probably raise it in London, but most likely you will go to raise. China would be quite interesting, but like not a lot of. Carol from Kaya actually told me about the VC market in China, and it seemed pretty crazy. I have not yet explored that.
China and Saudis, unexplored.
Yeah, exactly.
Cash load of money.
Someone sent me a meme. Wasn't it you? No, you don't. You don't send me memes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do sometimes send you memes.
Yeah, there was
random pictures.
There was some like sad guy wearing that like Saudi clothing, saying that. I will do someone else. Sorry.
Never mind. There's plenty of us
sent me
people.
The meme, and he was pretty sad. And it's like when your AI startup didn't raise from Sequoia, so you had to get Saudi money instead.
Yeah. I guess I don't know how much money they pour into AI startups, but I think they're pouring a lot of money to European VCs. But
and they pour like unlimited amount of money in SoftBank.
Oh yes,
right?
That's why SoftBank makes such a good investment.
That's why SoftBank sold Nvidia, right?
Exactly.
A couple of years
so
ago.
Smart.
And that's actually they probably made some profit, but like definitely not
the one they could have done.
Yeah,
could have done. Yeah, SoftBank in their decisions. Lovely. At what round should my Sauron's eye look west then? Is it when I'm a startup? Is it seed? Is it Series A?
It really depends on the type of project that you're doing and the amount of money that you need, and probably your level of risk that you are able to accept. I would probably say like go raise there right now. Go raise there once you're ready to raise. It should be, and it's not from my like. I have not raised money for my own startup in the US. but a couple of my friends and loads of my clients did. And it seemed pretty easy to get some angel money for a start. Once you move there for a month or two, you start meeting people. It may not be the case as it was 5 or 6 years ago. You probably will have an idea, and 15 other people in the suburb area where you will be staying will have that idea, and it will probably be even better. But it seemed that raising like angel rounds is bit quicker than it would be in the Europe. The problem is that we do not really have lots of angels here, mostly in the Czech Republic. Like we have,
but it's changing, right? Or what do you think?
Hopefully and thankfully it's changing. But like that will lead us to the question of ESOPs. That like if we do not have functional ESOP schemes, we cannot raise new angels. Yeah, if
sure.
Rohlik probably has some ESOP scheme in place. If Rohlik would be acquired tomorrow, how many dollar millionaires would come up from Rohlik?
Yeah.
Would it be like how many employees do they have? Like 300, 1,000? I don't know. How many of them would become business angels? I don't know. And that's the question.
Yeah, we might tackle the ESOP if we still have time a bit later, but I want to make a little role play with you. So I'm a startupist. I'm incorporated in Czech Republic because I want to taste some of those Czech invest incentives and maybe gorge on some European investment fund money. And I still want to be close to mom and her kitchen. And now I'm at the point, okay, I did have some angels, I did have some VC rounds, but now I want the substantial money, 2 mil plus, 5 mil something. And I want to start fundraising in the United States. What do I do? Do I need to relocate? Do I need to send the person there? Or do I schedule call from Czech Republic? What do I do?
It really depends on your contacts, on like, and the quality of your, well, you said that you already had investments from a local VC. Your local VC should help you with that. They should have contacts in the States.
Do local VCs have really good contacts?
Yeah, they do.
In US? Okay.
The good ones they do, and then it's really about your network. If your network is good, then you can perhaps connect with top-notch VCs from your living room in Podoli. But maybe you don't, and then you probably need to go there, go to a tech week or something like that. Schedule loads of meetings, spend like 1 to 2 months in the area, and get to know the investors in place. Or alternatively, you can get like a M&A advisor to help you with that, which I would not probably recommend at this stage.
Why?
Well, they would take a hefty amount of money that you raise. They will take like single digits of the money. That's quite expensive, right?
Yeah, and what investor would do that, right?
Well,
like on the other side,
the investors usually don't really know about this. That's the other way. That's the other problem. I definitely think that M&A advisors can be really helpful when you're raising like Series E,
or
D.
exiting, right?
Exactly. And with exits, I really encourage founders to advise to engage those advisors. The problem is that the advisors are most effective when the pile of money in the exit price is pretty big. When you're exiting a company for, let's say, 100 million Czech crowns, the amount of money that you will be paying to the M&A advisor is also quite hefty because the percentage is getting lower as the money as the exit price is getting higher.
Let's talk about the exit a bit later. I want to ask you about the IPOs, but now let's continue with the role play. So I found that US-based investor Sweet Nectar. What next?
You mean like
what, we met. They're interested. They want to invest, but I'm still incorporated in Czechia. What do I do?
Well, then most likely it will be quite tricky for them to invest in a Czech SRO, Czech limited liability company, because then you will tell them, oh, our lawyers need these documents from you. They never heard of those. They never heard of like. They can't even imagine sending originals of their fund documentation to your lawyers here in Prague, and it's like. They can't read a limited liability company. They will probably want you to engage a team in the States, at least like a salespeople and stuff like that. They will want your team to get proper ESOPs, and that will lead you into incorporation of probably a Delaware INC.
And they are willing to wait? The U.S. investors, once they pick you, they think it's pretty good. Are they willing to wait till you have Delaware?
The incorporation doesn't really take long.
Okay.
It can be done within a week or two.
But in that case, Sparring needs some people in the United States, right?
Yeah, we have a team in the States, and also we have US qualified lawyers in Prague.
And how big of a team?
We have 6 people right now in the US team.
Because we keep hearing, okay, you are not a big startup till you go to United States, right? It's like a mecca for the US market. Is the grass really that green there? Like, give me an example about what's shitty there, like, except for public transport.
I would probably say that for startups, it's all green over there. Well, perhaps with the exception of the cost of human labor or
and living and healthcare.
Well, they have their hacker houses. They don't really care that much, right? They are like 25 and they have nothing to lose. They don't have hypothecas as we do, you know.
I mean mortgage.
Yeah,
they don't have mortgage.
I said it on purpose, the hypotheca.
Yeah, thank you. They don't do. Yeah, okay. So I should have translated.
That's the reason why you have to wake up every day to
go and code
to pay off your bank, right?
Yeah, and what is the public service there? Like, how do lawyers communicate?
Well,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
states?
and
because you still need to do that, right? Not everything is private.
Yeah, communicate. Well, we have in Czech we have like public cadastre, we have public commercial register. Nothing like that works in the States. It's state specific, and
we have datovka.
Exactly, datovka. Amazing, right?
Bank ID.
Amazing, so many great stuff that we have here in the e-government. We like
this podcast isn't supported by EVA government.
Will you accept some sponsorship or not?
I'm not sure. Government, why not? If you are saying that the services are so much better than
5% out of that.
Okay, I deal.
Yeah, probably the most bizarre example that I would give is that when in the States we need to do like an IRS registration or make like an IRS filing. Some of those specific filings have to be sent by a fax machine. Do you remember those?
Yes, I do. From childhood, my parents got one.
Yeah, so that's quite bizarre, right?
That's amazing. You get in the office?
No, we don't.
Did you have to go into some antique shop and buy some?
We actually thought of that. That there probably would not be any way of connecting those to the network.
I have no idea how that is done. That was
no idea.
That was, I think. No, it wasn't.
You would have to connect
internet.
it to the landline.
Yeah, landline.
Do you have a landline? Do you know anyone who has a landline?
But in United States, there's still landline. Because the
they
coverage
is quite often. Yeah, exactly. And then, we did not go to the antique shop to get a faxing machine. There is a service where you upload a PDF and then within a few weeks it gets there via fax.
I hope that's a startup that fundraised money to turn PDF files into fax machine files.
I would say it's like 2 people in a really cramped room somewhere in like
but you can
Houston or something like that.
Who would say that you can charge money for that in 2024?
Amazing, right?
I have like national-oriented or European-oriented question. Like, if we say that all startups that really want to, make difference and make it out into the world and be successful, they all need to relocate into United States. What is there for Czech Republic and Europe there? Like, I mean, local institution, as I mentioned, Czech Invest, they pour money in the company and then they leave.
Yeah.
Because some might ask why pour so much money into startups in the first place.
Well, that's a great question. It's a rather complicated question because like you pour. First of all, the amount of money that they are pouring in is not enough. Second of all,
one would say, and there's plenty of those who say it's too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could,
I would actually be in opposition of that, and I would
Okay.
say we do not, and I would accept their arguments and say we do not need to pour that much money into subsidies. Let's make
Investment.
let's make running a early stage company bit more easier here. And I don't mean on the regulatory side. I mean, for instance,
Okay,
if
you
in the
mean
first,
taxation?
exactly,
Yeah.
like why you're losing money, you're pouring it in, you're like 30, you're renting out,
Yeah.
your like personal money situation is not great because you're not able to pay yourself a decent salary, but like, and then your company finally makes some profit. Why can't we introduce some
Yeah.
like tax exemptions for the
So
first
it's not
3
directive
years?
incentive, it's the other way around. Yeah.
Exactly. And like if you were finally being successful, the state will tax you immensely. Like if you will employ your team, you will pay your developer decent salary. Like 45% of those of the money.
Nobody employs in Czech Republic. We know that, right?
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like there is this phenomenon called Schwarz system, basically having a contractor agreements in place where there should be employment agreements, and the state is aware of that. They are just not really diligent enough about these, but there are signals that
Because they're all using that.
yes, but there are signals that they will start being more strict about these. And why is that? Like because the companies they need the money to basically create those products, pay taxes, then from the sale of the product for they can collect taxes in numerous ways. For instance, in VATs. VAT is the most efficient way of collecting money because you can't really make your VAT lower. Everyone has to pay VAT, right? With bigger corporations, you always read all of those articles. Why Nike is paying no taxes? Why Paris Hilton is paying no taxes?
Why is Paris Hilton paying no taxes?
No idea. There will be quite complicated of a corporate and taxation scheme, perhaps including some offshore companies, perhaps including some trusts, and you can make your personal taxes lower every time, but you probably cannot make your VAT lower.
Sure, but even though we would fix this early stage startup pain, still, if there was better place incentives, there was no taxation or a help to, for example, employ foreign talents, etc., we're still solving a problem of an early stage startup. But my question goes to, why should the state, what is there for a Czech Republic to pour money into early stage startup that eventually fly away and pay taxes in the United States?
Well,
it's a difficult question.
I would still
that.
think that the majority of the team will be employed or in some way will work here, and like our unemployment rate is the lowest in the EU for the past decade or maybe even more. So the thing is that like young people want to work in startups. So first of all, you're creating job offers for them. When it comes to startup completely relocating to the US and not leaving a footprint here, that's a.
But maybe that's not such a usual case.
That's a failed mission. But exactly, I do not think that those happens. Like there are a few examples that I have. Like one of my friend went to YC and he started a company there and he's Czech. He used to study with me, and they do not really have any Czech footprint anymore. But yeah, they probably would not incorporate here in any way.
In that case, they wouldn't take the all the incentives.
Exactly.
What I'm saying. So the case that then they completely relocate and take all the money with them and all the employment with them. That doesn't happen.
It's quite rare. It happens, but it's quite rare. Yeah, they usually then create like an R&D or dev team here.
Mm-hmm. And start talking about exits. And now I don't have the statistic on hand, but I think quite many, and maybe the major part of European startups end by being sold to American tech giants.
Absolutely, yeah.
Could we get into a situation where it's the other way around? Why don't we hear about European companies buying small American startups?
Yeah, because there are no European tech giants. Yeah. Do you know any?
Yeah, that's what
I remember. Wirecard.
Spotify.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Spotify is a good example, actually. Yeah.
It is the one that we can think
exactly.
of. Right?
Yeah, that's quite sad, right?
Yeah, it is quite sad.
Yeah, and still they are not that big. Like they are not a tech giant, I would say. Like their focus is quite is not wide enough. Yeah, that's the answer is clear. The capital market in the Europe is not big enough in comparison to the US. The appetite of regular investor in the Europe is way different to an investor in the States. And the other problem is like even like pension funds in the States have allocated or do allocate some of their capital into VCs or into technological companies.
Even like firefighters.
Do you remember Forrest Gump when he said like, Professor?
You mean when he talked about Apple? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Lieutenant Dan told me to invest into some
fruit company.
Yes. And then he called me, and there's an envelope saying that he invested into Apple Inc. And there's a mistake in the movie because the Apple Inc. was incorporated 1 year later than when he got the mail.
Oh.
I saw the movie probably too many times.
Yeah, you did.
But
the rainbow logo of Apple at that time was correct, right?
I don't know, maybe.
I think so.
And then he said, like, we do not have to care about money anymore. Yeah, that's...
And that is everything I can tell you about shrimp. Yeah,
Bubba gum shrimp.
Yeah, bubba gum shrimps, lovely.
And that's one less problem to solve,
That's fun. But do you, any European companies or Czech companies, from your experience, think about exit as IPOs? Is that even on somebody's radar now? Because it's so common to be sold eventually. Does anyone think, okay, I will make to my IPO one day?
Well, when it comes to European companies, I would say that this vision is getting less probable than it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think that there are few that are thinking of that, but we do not really see that really often in the roadmap. Acquisition is way more often.
It's way more often.
And we do not really see a roadmap of our clients or European companies aiming towards acquisition of their competitors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's their strategy?
Well, their strategy is usually to build something and then get acquired. Their strategy is not really building something by acquiring their competitors. Yeah. Just because they could not get the capital for that. Mm-hmm. You can't earn it. You can basically build a company and make enough money in 5 to 8 years to buy 3 of your competitors. You need an external investor for that.
And would you, as an investor, invest in a company just to buy a competitor?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And but in European investors, do you think they would be inclined to do so? Or is it completely different mindset?
They do that in the traditional industries. That's absolutely normal. Yeah. Like in the private equity, they do that.
Absolutely.
They do that. They rarely do that in startups, unfortunately.
Oh, interesting. Maybe that can change as well. While we talk about IPOs, because that went, and I need the statistic now, and we're not talking about specifically IPOs, technological companies IPOs, but generic. But that went from over 1,000 in 2021 into only 154 in 2003, only a slightly better in 2024. Who do we blame here, Putin or COVID?
The economy, of course. And then you can combine all of those aspects.
So it's just economy, not mindset?
I would probably say that the markets took a couple of hits in the past 3 years. Yeah, and yeah, people are probably being a bit more diligent with their money. Also, the retail investors, they probably saw some of their blood on the market in the past couple of years. So they are now being a bit more diligent. Also, the economic situation is not great. The rates were quite high. They are now falling down, so that's better. And also, it's easier to get acquired than to get an IPO. It's quite of a hefty work to bring your company public.
It is, but it's just like a thought. When you see how much money is pouring into, from Silicon Valley into American election, and I don't want to get into politics because I think that once this podcast airs, we will know, because it's in a couple of days, we will know who the next president is. And so that, as politics aside, like if you see how much money Silicon Valley giants, investors, even tech startups are putting into, to support some political candidate, and isn't it weird that, we still think that there is some kind of economic crisis in United States?
Well, usually when
in the tech sector.
Usually when you are pouring money in someone's political activities, you pour them because of your own interests, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's the
talking Bill Gates and Elon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I meant it's not like why do they do it, but like if you see the amount of money from the tech giants, from the tech startups, from Silicon Valley, isn't it weird that we don't see more IPOs? Is it really just because of economy and money?
I would actually say so.
Okay.
Yeah, and also there were some like not that successful IPOs in the past. There was this IPO that didn't really work out. That was like WeWork. And then,
there was a couple of reasons for that.
Really expected.
But Reddit worked out.
Yeah.
Shein worked out.
Birkenstock did not. Coinbase did not. That was quite expected. Everyone expected that. I don't know.
But the latest are pretty successful.
Yeah, it's getting better and better.
We still slightly touched the subject of the European market, and it's being very fragmented into small states with their unique legislative and their unique systems, and their unique big history of small state. But we see some initiative to fix that. So there is some pan-European legislative. For example, there is this new EU incorporated, right? EU Inc.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. What is that, and what do you think about that?
Well, there is a petition to basically.
Petition.
I think it's a form. It is a form of a petition, but now with the European Commission changing basically its personal capital and bringing the European Commission back together, there is a petition of, you would say, tech giants from a tech companies around Europe, from a VCs and bigger startups and bigger scale-ups. There's a petition from these companies to put together a pan-European form of a company, meaning that it could work under the same regime, under the same legal system throughout the European Union. That it should bring easier fundraising. It should bring easier corporate operations,
scaling to other countries.
Exactly,
right?
It should bring easier access to the jobs market. It's not really easy when you have a startup in one country in the EU and then you want to, let's say that you have a Czech e-shop, like pretty simple e-commerce project, and you want to scale to Slovakia. It's quite the level of administrative obstacles is quite high. And then you want to expand to Hungary, and that's you're lost there. You don't speak the language. The officers don't speak English. You have no idea how to pay taxes. You have no idea how to pay social and health. So that's what the EU INC is trying to put together, and that's what they're trying to improve.
You think that's realistic, or is it utopia?
I would say that coming up with a new form of a company, that's doable.
Okay.
And then, because we already have types of companies that can be incorporated in every member state. It's a Societas European, something like SE. It's not really. It was not that successful. Some companies use it, but it's not great. It's like a European joint stock company.
Okay.
And that's been there for like 15 years already. So proving that there can be one type of European company that is doable from.
But what does it mean? That means same taxes, same employment of the foreign talent.
No, unfortunately, what I'm talking about is the same corporate regime and incorporation of the company throughout each member state. I would really think that it will all fall down to the taxation on all of the levels.
But maybe there is some middle ground between having the same structure, having like the same format, but having some different.
And do you really think so that those like 28 states will be now willing to agree on like, okay, so all of the everyone will keep their taxation as a national level, but this type of company, they will get the same taxation throughout the EU. And it would be great. It would make the EU competitive against the US. But I actually think it's quite utopic.
Like I don't know what is the name of the British new PM. I wanted to say Rishi Sunak, but he's no longer. Never mind.
Yeah.
Rishi Sunak and Viktor Orban agreeing on taxation, and Britain is not.
Rishi will not be there anymore.
Oh my God, Britain is not in EU. I'll probably erase this from this podcast.
But Hungary still is.
Yeah. What a lovely days we live in. Okay, so never mind that. It is difficult to imagine they agreeing on stuff, and we'll probably have to wait for $1 trillion tech company from Bratislava garage or something.
And do you remember there was like a similar petition for ESOPs? Did anything happen?
Well, talking about petitions for ESOPs, you were a part of the lobby party, right?
Yeah.
You were part of the ESOP
you
lobby
can say
party.
So. Yeah.
In the Czech Republic, and you helped to push the legislative of ESOP from the lobby to real world. Are you happy with it?
Not really, no. Not really. The process is quite slow, and it doesn't seem that we will get there by the end of this year. Hopefully, we will get there by the next elections, because then the primary aims of the government will be something else. It's quite sad. Like Slovaks already have that since 2014. It's working to some scope. Here in Czech, we do not have any ESOP legislation whatsoever so far, which is quite sad. And the legislation that we have since this year is imposing caps on capital gain taxes, capital gain tax exemptions. So if you sell a company, and that is another reason why people will actually not only incorporate but move to other countries.
Because there was a huge PR message that we already have it as a Czech Republic, so we don't.
The ESOPs.
Yeah.
We do, but they're not functional, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because of the taxation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the taxation, yeah. So you are like a writer of a book that it doesn't like the movie that inspired, that was inspired by the book. Okay.
Yeah, you're like a writer of a movie that ends well, of a movie based on a book that ends well. But in your movie, the end is apocalypse or something like that.
It's very often the other way around, because they are trying to sell the movie with happy end, and I want to sell this podcast with a happy end. And tell me, what is the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
Weirdest food. I've eaten loads of insects. That was quite weird. Once, and there's one food that I will probably never consume, and that is balut. Do you know what is balut?
No.
That is a duck embryo, really often ate in Vietnam. They eat it as a beer snack. I'll probably, you can get it in Sapa. I was in Hanoi, and we had a girl that took us on a walk-in trip to Hanoi. She was super nice, amazing. She was practicing her English, so she told about all of the traditions, what they do. It was really, really nice. And at the end, she was like, "Guys, if you would, it would be really a pleasure for me to invite you to have some balut with me." And we and my friend were like, "Sorry, girl, there's no way we're gonna consume duck embryo."
Yeah. Still prefer sheep guts and spiders.
That's fine.
And, not duck embryos, but, duck or chicken ovulations. Better that. Thank you, Ondřej, for being with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice chat.